Hey y'all, how you doing? Yep, it's me again, Shahida Ice Cream, back with another video. Today I'm going to talk some more about domestic abuse. I'm going to talk about the honeymoon phase. Okay, so the cycle of abuse. Don't get caught up in the honeymoon stage. Now, when we discuss the honeymoon, when we discuss the cycle of domestic violence, the honeymoon phase appears to be a period of rest from the abuse and perhaps even an end to it. But the question here is this really a honeymoon? But in my opinion, it is not. Don't get caught up in the honeymoon phase because it is just a continuation of the abuse. For that reason, we need to look at how to escape the honeymoon phase and why we should. So according to Lenora Walker, the cycle of abuse consists of 3 phases. Walker's description of this cycle has been modified over the years, but in her original version, the first phase consisted of tension building, in which the woman walks on eggshells due to the abuser's behavior. He becomes critical, jealous, cold, distant, or withdrawn. And the woman can only wait for the impending doom. So the second phase is where the battering occurs or the battering phase. So there is an explosion of verbal text. The abuser becomes hostile and he screams out threats, breaks objects, or physically assaults her. So the third phase is known as the honeymoon phase. That's where they make 1, 2, 2, 3 good. I'm telling you, they're never gonna do it again. The reason it's called the honeymoon stage is because it's going to continue. Once you accept their forgiveness, once you forgive them, it's only going to happen again because they know they have you where they want you. So the third phase is known as the honeymoon phase. It says he says he's sorry. He gives her flowers or expensive gifts. He might start to take on responsibilities such as caring for the kids or participating in household activities that he refused to do before the violent event. Okay? This is part of the honeymoon stage. He's going to do nice things that he never did before. He's going to do things that he was supposed to do before but never did. Like watch the kids, take out the trash, whatever. So during this time, he might even say he's going to seek help and change his behavior. Most women, more likely, they want to believe that he is sorry and that he's going to change. So let's look at the honeymoon phase to see how it is an extension of the abuse. Manipulative, and deceptive behavior. So during the honeymoon phase, he does not give the real motive behind the sudden change from being mean to being nice. His reason for being so cheerful and apologetic is to stop her from going to the police, especially when there are abusers or other evidence of the physical assault. Or he could be afraid of losing her. So his ultimate motive is to return the relationship back to the state where he was in full charge. Therefore, he showers her with so many gifts and kind words that she doesn't have the time to think about or even remember the abusive event and seek help. and a lot of times, the woman doesn't remember. I mean, what happened? How did this flare up? Become so abusive. I don't even remember what the argument was about. And then he's putting you through that honeymoon stage where he's vowing to make up and vowing to get counseling, and then you accept his apology, you go back, so you don't have time to process what's really going on. You don't have time to process the stress and the pain that he's putting you through because you allow him time after time to control you. So, okay? Students and because she may feel pressured into accepting his presence. She might be afraid to refuse him, afraid that the abuse will return. So like a bad movie sequel, bigger and meaner than before, there is a fear that if she is not receptive, the tension or abusive cycle will resume. So, due to his deceptive behavior, she is pushed back into the grooming phase, which reminds her of the good times, okay? Those memories reinforce the hope that he can change. So she begins to fantasize that the relationship would become the kind of relationship she had hoped for. This hope leads her to tell herself that it wasn't that bad and to dismiss the idea of seeking help. And so he gets away with his behavior, and as a result, the cycle of abuse continues on. The woman feels compelled to forgive him, which is premature forgiveness. Premature forgiveness is accepting an apology without having time to process the hurt or acknowledge it. And he says he is sorry and promises not to hurt her again. So she accepts his apology before working through the process of forgiveness. I believe that forgiveness is a process. So for healing to occur, she needs time to acknowledge her hurt, be aware of the effects of the offense, and to cease and change behavior. In this case, no more abuse. Before I can accept the apology, there has to be no more abuse. You have to show me that you really mean to change. One way is through going to counseling. You have to stop this abuse before I can accept that apology. So, how to escape the honeymoon phase? The important thing is, during the crisis, and especially after an abusive event, you need to seek help. Your safety is your number one priority. If your abuser is unable to manipulate you during the honeymoon phase, then his frustration and rage might intensify. So it is critical that you get help if you decide to make drastic changes, such as leaving the relationship. Here are some actions that you can take, okay? Insist on time to process the event. The human brain needs to process and make sense of every social interaction. When forced into moving forward without a logical understanding behind the abusive behavior, there is confusion. This confusion can lead to denial, which traps you in a relationship that damages your physical and your emotional well-being because you haven't had time to process the seriousness of this event and what's going on and what it's doing to you because you continuing to take this person back. with him telling you he's going to get help. He's telling you he's going to change, but you don't see no change nowhere. So it's time for you to change, okay? It's time for you to get out there and use the situation. So it might be best to maintain no control. It might be best to maintain no contact when you insist on time away from him. Because this will allow you time to think and process the event and what actions to take. If you do not distance yourself, you might be manipulated and pulled back into the cycle. Ask God for wisdom, and I will repeat. It is critical that you seek help during the crisis phase. It is during that time that you might have some control and can make decisions without his interference. If you are showing signs of physical abuse, he might try to stop you from seeking help due to fear of the consequences, but you have to be strong and get help without his permission. Seeing through the confusion means educating yourself about domestic abuse. So therefore, find resources in your community to gain awareness that you are not alone, and there is a way to break the cycle so that you won't get caught up in the web of the honeymoon phase. So here are some links. So wait to see the changed behaviors over time. So some of the actions that you should look for are him admitting that he is an abuser. He must admit that he is an abuser before he can change. Okay? Admitting that he's an abuser and is seeking professional help. He must first admit that he's an abuser and seek professional help. Otherwise, the abuse is going to continue. So willingness to accept the consequences of his behavior and asking others to hold him accountable are the things he should be doing. So most importantly, he must allow you space to see his change over time. How much time that depends on the kind of man he is, and he might not even change at all. And you will need time to accept the situation. So to conclude, don't get caught in the web of the honeymoon phase. It is after the abusive incident that you might have the ability to seek help without him. Find time to reflect on his behavior so that you can determine what actions you need to take to break the cycle. Pray for wisdom to expose the truth behind his behavior. Now, the next video I'm going to do pertaining to domestic violence is how to reclaim yourself. Okay, and I hope that if you feel as though you're in an abusive situation or someone you know is in an abusive situation, that you are not alone and that there's nothing to be ashamed of. But there is help out there for you. There is support groups. There is shelter. You do not have, no one has the right to put their hands on you. No one has the right to control you. So, with that being said, I'm just going to keep on doing these videos. One of them is on domestic violence, because I know someone, somewhere out there, needs to hear this. Someone out there needs to get help. So, with that being said, y'all, again, I just want to say I hope everybody's staying out your way. And everybody's staying covered up. The nose, the mouth, and the throat. I want you to be here for a long time. So like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you may be notified of another video. So, I love you. I want you to comment and let me know how this girl's doing. I'm going to keep on doing it and doing it and doing it and keep on doing it and doing it. I just hope I get better and better and better. And if any information, anything you want me to look up at this time, just put it down in the comments. And I will answer all of the comments that I see. And for you, for the ones that's out there now that are looking at my videos, I just want to thank you so much. So until the next time, y'all, love, peace, and happiness.